This would temporarily provide workers with partial income relief while they search for new employment. Additionally, unemployment insurance support would facilitate the acquisition of new skills to increase and improve their employability. Of course, the most important role of the government for workers is to ensure that the economy is growing and generating employment. Jamaica is recovering from the fallout of the COVID-19 pandemic. The economy is growing and more jobs have been created. Jamaica's unemployment rate of 6.2% in January 2022 is the lowest ever recorded in Jamaica's history. In spite of turbulent times, Jamaica is heading in the right direction. This shows the strength of our macroeconomy and the resilience of our labor force. However, this recovery is still a work in progress. The impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic and now the war in Ukraine have unleashed the greatest wave of global inflation seen in over 40 years. Import prices of fuel and food are rising in all countries around the world at the same time. While we all know that this inflation has causes outside of Jamaica, it still does not make it easy for the average household to absorb. These external shocks are occurring against the background of Jamaica's long fiscal adjustment, which was secured by the sacrifice of the workers, which resulted in a rehabilitation of our economy, but had real impacts on public sector salaries. In addition, there are many instances where the structure of the public sector compensation is unfair and inequitable. This is so in central government as well as in public bodies. The inequities in the structure of public sector compensation are not new and did not arise overnight. Decades of tinkering with compensation systems without solving fundamental issues are contributing factors. However, this government, your government, has decided to take on this decades-old problem because we care about our workers and we recognize that the current structure is untenable. This government, your government, working in partnership with public sector unions, made the decision for us all to engage in the hard work of addressing the structural inequities in public sector compensation through a major public sector compensation restructuring exercise. The restructuring exercise is designed to remove inequities, make compensation simpler and more transparent, while ensuring that Jamaica's finances remain sustainable. We recognize that it will not be an easy process. There is pent-up anger, mistrust from broken promises, and contentious issues to grapple with. However, rest assured, your government is listening. As a nation, our industrial relations has matured significantly since 1938. The government recognizes the significant social and civic capital in our labor movement, and we are confident that together, labor and government can cooperate to usher in the most significant institutional reform of public sector compensation in Jamaica's history, and further, to see to the improvement in standard of living and wages generally in the economy. We recognize too the importance of utilizing the systems and mechanisms in place to resolve industrial disputes to ensure our economy remains stable, so we can be better equipped to respond to the needs of our valued labor force. We banded together to get through the worst of the pandemic. Let us remain united as we emerge into a period where Jamaica is poised for economic takeoff and success. Jamaica is heading in the right direction. Together, as one family, let us sit down around the negotiation table to see how we can make everyone better off. The theme for this year's Workers' Week is Reposition Jamaica's Labor Market Post-COVID. This captures perfectly the thrust of the government, which is to place greater emphasis on our country's human resources to unlock Jamaica's true potential and to increase opportunities and shared prosperity for all. We are even more determined to achieve this as we celebrate our 60th anniversary of independence. After 2 years, this Labor Day finds us enjoying some freedom of movement and gathering. We are able to return to some level of normalcy. Our children are in school and our economy is returning to full productivity because of the collective sacrifice and cooperation of all Jamaicans, and most critically, because of the dedicated work of our frontline and essential workers, and to them, we remain deeply thankful. The freedom to be out and about this Labor Day means we can mobilize to a greater degree within our communities and across the country. As we action this year's Labor Day theme, Reigniting a Nation for Greatness, protect our heritage and environment, which calls on us to make Jamaica crisp and clean. However, we must do so responsibly, especially as we are now closely monitoring the effects of a fifth wave of the pandemic. You saw me in my mask earlier. I will be participating in the national project at the Mandela Park in Halfway Tree. I invite all Jamaicans to come together in your various communities and clean up, crisp up, and nice up the place. Oh, and by the way, I know many of you will be going out to parties and going to the beach. Please, 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 drive carefully. Use our roads carefully. As Jamaicans, let us tap into our resilience, creativity, and indomitable spirit, and control what we can in the face of challenges. Let us shake off the difficulties of the last 2 years and take advantage of the opportunities before us. Together, as we have shown many times in the past, we will arrive at satisfactory solutions. Jamaica needs to stay the course as we are heading in the right direction. Happy Labor Day. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless Jamaica, land we love.
Here this morning, and I want to say welcome to everybody else who's joining us here this morning, because we're here to celebrate innovation. Just want to remind you that the BIGEE program is here to celebrate entrepreneurs, Jamaican entrepreneurs who are innovating, who are finding sustainable solutions to problems that we've had. And there is, in fact, an open house happening outside, so please feel free to stop and take a look at the various displays before you leave. Welcome. On the head table, Mr. Minister. It's right there. I want to say welcome to everybody joining us here today. And it appears we're ready to start. Yes. So once again, good morning to everybody. Welcome to the Jamaica Pegasus, and welcome to this visibility ceremony for the non-reimbursable financing agreement from the European Union for specific contributions to support the Boosting Innovation, Growth and Entrepreneurship Ecosystem, BIGEE program between the government of Jamaica and the Inter-American Development Bank, acting as administrator. Thank you all for coming out this morning. And can I just say you all are looking absolutely marvelous. I'm not used to being out yet, so you have to work with me this morning. I'm just excited to be in front of real people. I did a lot of computer communication over the last 2 years. So, we are here today, as I said, to shine some light on this program. And we have some very special guests in here. As a matter of fact, you're all special guests, but you know, special is a little toops more for some persons than for others. So we want to acknowledge everybody who's here today. Before I do that, let me introduce myself. My name is Shelly Ann Weeks. I am the Director, Corporate Communications and Public Relations at the Ministry of Finance, and I'll be your moderator for today. I want to first extend a warm welcome to the Minister of Finance, Dr. the Honorable Nigel Clark MP, to Her Excellency Marianne Van Steen, Ambassador, Head of Delegation, the European Union, to Carmen Madriz, Acting Director for Caribbean Countries, Inter-American Development Bank, to Mr. Lorenzo Escondier, Representative Chief of Operations, Country Office, Inter-American Development Bank. We also have some other special guests with us, the delegation. Oh, let me just apologize in advance. So first, let me just say good morning and welcome to His Excellency Hugo Verbest, Ambassador, Kingdom of Belgium, His Excellency Olivier Gaillon-Varge, who is the Ambassador, the French Republic, France. Bienvenue. I want to say welcome, bienvenido, to His Excellency Diego Barmijo Romero de Toreros, Ambassador, Kingdom of Spain. How did I do? And I also want to say welcome to Jan van Hendrik Ventiel, Charge d'Affaires, the Federal Republic of Germany. Welcome. We also have in our midst Mr. Paul B. Scott, Chairman, Board Chairman, Development Bank of Jamaica, Mr. Anthony Shaw, Managing Director, Development Bank of Jamaica, Dr. Wayne Henry, CDJP, Director General, Planning Institute of Jamaica. I want to say welcome to the media, other special invited guests, members of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, and to those joining us from cyberspace through our link on YouTube and Facebook, a very, very welcome. Good morning to you all. We are just going to jump right into the program. We have remarks coming from the Development Bank of Jamaica through Mr. Anthony Shaw, Managing Director. He's an accomplished Chief Executive Officer with an extensive international and regional experience at the corporate group level with the financial sector as well. He has had a 25-year career as a regional banker with experience in retail commercial lending and a record of strong relationship building and finding solutions to assist customers. Much of his commercial lending experience was with Scotiabank in Canada, Jamaica, and Barbados. Please put your hands together and welcome Mr. Anthony Shaw.
Thank you, moderator. Dr. the Honorable Nigel Clark, Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Her Excellency Marianne Van Steen, EU Ambassador to Jamaica, Head of Delegation, Ms. Carmen Madris, Acting General Manager, Caribbean Country Department, IADB. Members of the Diplomatic Corps, His Excellency Oliver, I will make a mess of this, Goenvarch, Ambassador French Republic of France, Mr. Jan Hendricks Van Thiel, Charge d'Affaires, Federal Republic of Germany, His Excellency Diego Bermejo Romero de Terrios, Ambassador Kingdom of Spain, and Mr. Juice Depy, Deputy Head of Mission, Kingdom of Belgium. I haven't seen Wayne Henry, but I have Wayne Henry here on my notes. Ms. Barbara Scott, Deputy Director, General External Cooperation Management Division. Ms. Audrey Sewell, I haven't seen her either. And other senior officers, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Now that I've gotten over that. This agreement, which is being formalized today between the Government of Jamaica and the European Union, is another important step in a long-standing, fruitful relationship between Jamaica and one of our most dependable international development partners. The support that we are receiving from the EU 7.4 million, will complement the existing IDB loan program for BIGEE, which stands for Boosting Innovation, Growth and Entrepreneurship Ecosystem Project, BIGEE. By providing additional non-reimbursable resources with a focus on women-led businesses, climate change, and COVID-19 support. The DBJ's products and services, which include from loans, grants, and technical assistance, are focused on making development happen via the micro, small, medium-sized business sector. And the assistance we're receiving today is no different. Although the BIGEE agreement was signed in 2020, its implementation was delayed somewhat because of COVID-19 pandemic. But in the last year, we have done substantial work under the project by providing, firstly, grant financing for MSMEs with innovative services from startup to established operating businesses. And secondly, we provided capacity development, technical assistance, and institutional strengthening for business enablers. And thirdly, equity financing that includes co-investments with angel investors, and venture capital funds. Narrowed down, this support involves giving grants amounting to 78 million under the IGNITE program to 21 micro and small enterprises to scale their operations. We issued digital vouchers, which did exceptionally well, at a cost of 157 million to 225 businesses to help them recover from the pandemic by digitizing their operations. Supporting 15 teams of student entrepreneurs at a tertiary level at a cost of 6 million. Providing capacity development to 18 business development organizations, BDOs, and business services intermediaries at a cost of 63 million. And making grants amounting to 78.5 million under the Innovation Grant Fund to 6 medium-sized companies and innovative products to help them increase revenue and create employment. This amounts to over 325 million in grants to help build the local MSME ecosystem. The focus of today's agreement is female-led firms, helping them to build their capacity to contribute to the economy, climate change mitigation and adaptation projects that contribute to resilience and sustainability, and to assist MSMEs recover from the ravages of the COVID-19 pandemic. I want to say to the EU that your assistance has come at an excellent time, because I am new to DBJ. I've been there almost 2 months, and these issues matter to me. So it comes at a time when this is a critical area of focus as we go forward. It's a very welcome addition to the multi-pronged approach that the government, through the DBJ, has employed to facilitate economic growth and development in our nation. It will also bring greater clarity and resources to the implementation of related projects, allowing the DBJ to make a greater impact on delivering our products and services to the business community. Please allow me to express appreciation on behalf of the DBJ to the Ministry of Finance and indeed to the Minister of Finance, the Inter-American Bank, the EU, for their continued support and confidence in the DBJ. And I'd also like to pay tribute to my competent and dedicated staff at the DBJ, both those who are here at this event. Let me repeat that. I'd like to pay tribute to my competent and dedicated staff at DBJ who are here at this event and those who are in the office. They're on track to make all aspects of the BIGEE projects come together, and along with our other programs that include low-interest loans, collateral support in the form of the Credit CF, Credit Enhancement Facility, and the voucher for technical assistance, the VTA, to name a few, which make development happen in Jamaica. So we encourage all our entrepreneurs to make use of these opportunities to help them grow their business and ultimately become sustainable. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shaw. $325 million in grants for Jamaican small businesses. I think that deserves another round of applause. At this time, I want to acknowledge the presence of the Financial Secretary, Ms. Darlene Morrison, and also Deputy Financial Secretary, Ms. Diane Black. Welcome. Thank you for being here this morning. I want to talk a little bit about tea. Now, every Jamaican knows that a cup of tea is the universal cure for any ailment that you have. If your headache to a stomachache, your foot hurt you, matters not. And if you go out and visit the open house, which I really recommend that you do, you will see that Jamaican tradition in some of the innovation out there. There is a particular exhibition that has Elsa's tea, which is a blend of herbs that will help to relieve different ailments. And I thought that was just really, really amazing. So please make sure you check them out before you leave. Let's move on in the program. We'd like to invite our next speaker, Her Excellency Marianne Van Steen, Ambassador, Head of Delegation for the European Union, to join us. But let me tell you a little bit about her. She was appointed as EU Ambassador to Jamaica in October 2020. She has over 25 years of experience in working in diplomacy and international development with the European Union. She's no stranger to the Americas, having completed a highly successful 4-year term as EU Ambassador to Ecuador in 2020. Ambassador Van Steen looks forward to another continued partnership with the government of Jamaica and the EU, which spans over 46 years. Please welcome Ambassador Van Steen.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy you didn't read out my entire curriculum because I would have felt really old. Dr. the Honorable Nigel Clark, Minister of Finance and the Public Service and Chair of the Inter-American Development Bank's Board of Governors. Mrs. Carmen Madri, Acting General Manager for the Caribbean countries in the Inter-American Development Bank. And of course, Mr. Anthony Shaw, Managing Director of the Development Bank of Jamaica. My dear colleagues, I'm not going to say all your names. I've seen two before me trying to do it correctly, but thank you so much for being here. I have here with me my army, as the minister says, the European Union ambassadors that are resident here in the country. Thank you for accompanying me here. And Members of the media, everyone present here, good morning. It's a real pleasure. It's an honor for me to be here. It's an important event. We're talking about an important grant from the European Union, a contribution to the Boosting Innovation, Growth and Entrepreneurship Ecosystems program. I still find it difficult to pronounce, but I think it's BIGEE. BIGEE. Okay, I'm so sorry. Anyhow, it really signals our continued determination, our renewed commitment to fostering entrepreneurship in a sustainable way here in the country. The development of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, we all know is critical not only to the Jamaican economy, but to the economy in all countries. And here in Jamaica, they're playing a vital role in the government of Jamaica's efforts to spur economic recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. Let me say that we have noted that Jamaicans are very innovative and enterprising people. And it was actually striking to see that during the pandemic, we've seen that coming out. There was this added push to enter the business sphere, and according to data that we received from the Companies Office of Jamaica, last year there were 17,039 businesses registered and 4,878 companies were incorporated, and that represented an increase of 33% and 24% respectively, 21 compared with 2020. The push towards formalization was striking, and it's important, and we very much commend that, and we encourage that. We do know that there are, however, many small and medium-sized enterprises that do have brilliant, very fresh ideas and compelling new products and services with high growth potential, but very often they do not have the financial backup, the financial support to start, putting into place their ideas, and also they lack very often business advisory services. So we were very happy to see this loan from the IDB to the government of Jamaica, because this is exactly what this loan is doing, is trying to address some of the most critical challenges that micro and small and medium-sized enterprises have by providing financial and effective technical assistance to these small companies. The European Union has been supporting the business sector, and particularly the micro and small and medium-sized enterprises, over a long time now. I think we've been looking back over the years, and I think it's already 20 years that with bilateral funds and with regional funds, we have tried to provide that service in terms of small grants, but also in terms of technical services. And I'm very happy, I've been here for almost 2 years, to have noted that indeed there are many of the small enterprises that have been able to benefit from this support. Now with COVID as well, I wanted to give some examples. We've supported the production of coffee, sauces, spices, maybe the tea, small-sized enterprise, I imagine. But we've also come out to support companies that have suffered from the impact of COVID-19 more recently. Now, as I said, today it's not a small grant, it's a big one. We're talking about 7.4 million euro. That's about $8 million US, and I calculated it. It's about 1.2 billion Jamaican dollars. This, it's important to underline, are not reimbursable funds. It's not a loan, it's a grant. And it will be spread out over a period of 5 years. It complements this important loan between the IDB and the government of Jamaica. And I'm very happy that, this time we're coming in a little bit later. We're always a bit late. But it's very good for us because we have seen already very tangible results of the loan. So we're very happy that we can come in and support, and we will see that the efforts that are already being undertaken have results, and we're very happy that we can then continue that support. We do, of course, put a certain emphasis on what we think is particularly important, and with this grant, we're looking in particular to support, and you will not be surprised, youth and women, because they need that extra little push a little bit more. Also, we look at the companies that have suffered more from the COVID impact. And finally, again, you will not be surprised, we very much would like to see the support going to micro, small and medium-sized enterprises that are building up their resilience against climate change. So this is the particular focus that we have. But yeah, I just wanted to say a word. This has been a long-term trend, and we will continue to provide support to the private sector. We think it is extremely important, and I just wanted to announce that for the moment we are working to continue working on supporting the small and medium-sized enterprises, in particular in the area of the digital transformation. Of course, Minister, we have to continue to sit down as well with the bank. The idea is that we very much believe in that the digital transformation of the country. I mean, it's one of the highest priorities of the government, but we think it should be possible also that the small companies, the medium-sized companies, can also make that leap in order to nurture economic growth and development. I could say a lot more, but I'm going to stop here. I just want to say thank you to, in particular, to all those who have actually worked together to make this happen, in particular to the Minister, to the Ministry, to the IDB, to Jamaica Development Bank, my team, who has been working hard, and I should not forget the EU ambassadors, because, you know, the money has to come from somewhere, and I mean, a large part, of course, comes from the member states of the European Union, so I'm very grateful to see this starting, I mean, continuing the program that has already started, but giving that extra push, and I'm very curious to go outside afterwards and to see what are the real tangible results that I have heard of. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. 17,039 businesses, you say, were registered last year. Wow. In the middle of COVID, we're still innovating. Speaking about some of the displays outside, I spoke to 2 different women-led businesses that were dealing with education. One of them focused on STEM. Now, let me see if I can remember the STEM. It's science, technology, engineering, math, right? STEM subjects, and they have a kit for students who want to learn STEM subjects, which I think is so important because, especially with where the world is going, it is so critical that we continue to push these subjects and ensure that our young people are ready for the world of tomorrow. So please, I'm going to implore you again, and for the persons who are joining us virtually, get up, get dressed, come to the Pegasus, check out the open house that's happening outside, some real innovation going on out there. And so we're going to invite our next speaker to join us, who is Ms. Carmen Madriz, Acting Director General for Caribbean Countries, Inter-American Development Bank. Before joining the IDB, Ms. Madriz held several positions in public and private sectors, including Senior Advisor to the Executive Director of Central America, Mexico, Spain, and Venezuela at the World Bank, Director General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Costa Rica, and Ambassador for Costa Rica in El Salvador. You've been busy. So let us just put our hands together and welcome Ms. Carmen Madrid.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Dr. the Honorable Nigel Clark, Minister of Finance and the Public Service of Jamaica, and of course, Chair of our Boards of Directors, of Governors. Her Excellency Marianne Van Steen, EU Ambassador to Jamaica and Head of the EU Delegation. Mr. Anthony Shaw, Managing Director of the DBJ. Mr. Milverton Reynolds, Consulting Director of the DBJ. Mr. Christopher Brown, Project Manager, BIGEE. Distinguished, I will not dare to pronounce your last name, so distinguished members of the diplomatic corps, and of course, other guests, including the media and virtual attendees. It gives me great pleasure to be here today to join the government of Jamaica and our partners, the European Union, in announcing officially the approval of the grant from their Caribbean Investment Facility to complement our well-known BIGEE program. The grant, as was mentioned, 7.5 million euros, represents another important milestone in the effort of the Government of Jamaica, the Development Bank of Jamaica, and the IDB to strengthen the country's business ecosystem. This grant complements the BIGEE loan approved by the bank in 2019 to support the government's efforts to boost innovation, growth, and entrepreneurship. I have to say that in 2019, when we approved the BIGEE loan, we were very excited about the potential of the project, but we were not aware on how vital this program would become once COVID hit. Even before the pandemic, businesses had begun to benefit from BIGEE, but now, after 3 years, there has been many successes, and the colleagues who spoke before me have mentioned some, but I would like to mention 3 things that we find particularly innovative about this program. 1, the issuance of digital vouchers to grow and scale businesses. More than 800 have been issued so far. The fact that medium-sized companies can have access to the Innovation Grant Fund. Now we have funding to support these companies in their efforts. And also the fact that micro and small enterprises now have access to innovation grants for young entrepreneurs, for accelerators, for incubators. Those are the ones that will be leading the change and will have a key role in that private-led recovery for Jamaica. So today, we have the opportunity to advance these initiatives and these efforts thanks to the partnership with the EU. This grant, as Marianne said, will provide additional resources targeted at gender access, climate change, and COVID-19 impact for established MSMEs, scalable startups, and high-potential startups within the program. And these 3 areas are very well aligned with our vision, the bank's Vision 2025, which is our strategy to promote that economic recovery that our region needs. So I want to highlight 3 things. I know Marianne mentioned them very briefly, but I think it is very important to understand that these are 4 key issues that the European Union has been supporting, and I would like to go a little bit more in detail. First, it will allow the funding of specific initiatives to promote gender equality in business. We all know the unique challenges that women-owned firms face. We know about the lack of opportunities, the lack of financing. We know about gender bias. We know about unpaid caring responsibilities, among others. So with this grant, it is expected that support will be provided to around 120 women-owned firms to benefit from matching grants and technical assistance. And approximately 150 women entrepreneurs and researchers will benefit from the networking and mentoring activities, including a digital talent bootcamp targeted specifically for women. The grant will also fund initiatives to promote climate change action. Given our commitment to achieving target sustainable development goals and Jamaica's vulnerability to climate change impacts, such as severe hurricanes, increased rainfall intensity, and longer periods of drought, this grant will focus on financing businesses that tackle climate change. MSMEs will benefit from an innovation fund for climate change-related research and development and vouchers for innovation for climate-related COVID-19 activities. Also, this grant will complement BIGEE's efforts to drive innovation, especially digital innovation. We all have seen how COVID-19 continues to challenge businesses that are operating in a dynamic, complex environment shaped by rapid technological changes, climatic impacts, and other global shocks. By promoting innovation, especially digital innovation, firms are better equipped to navigate this more dynamic and complex environment. By strengthening the innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem, we are working together to develop an enabling environment for firms to create opportunities, thrive, and grow. Finally, the grant will also benefit public and private institutions that support innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem, such as incubators, accelerators, academia, and technological transfer offices, with projects that show potential to solve problems in the 3 areas I mentioned before. As I close, I would like to thank our BIGEE partners. Thank you to the government of Jamaica, of course, for continuing to put your faith in us as trusted development partner. Thank you to the DBJ for the excellent work you have been doing in implementing the program. And also thank you for the EU for the additional support to address very important cross-cutting issues within the program. We are all trying to support the efforts to stimulate a profound cultural change in Jamaica. We want to create new gender-responsive opportunities for women and youth to participate in key areas such as climate mitigation and adaptation. We encourage the business community to visit the DBG's website for updates on how you can tap into the support that we hope will help to sustain and grow businesses during the recovery period. Thank you very much.
It is clear from selecting these 3 areas that we have a lot of work to do, and I'm so happy that we're here this morning to see where the work is going. I was taking a look at some of the information from one of the exhibitors outside, and I don't know if you have ever seen sargassum. It's this algae, this brown algae that washes up along the shores. If you go in different places, you see it along Kingston Harbor sometimes. And organic inputs, which is one of the the displays outside, one of the companies that are being funded here, they are going to be using sargassum to make charcoal. So that, of course, charcoal can be used as fuel. But I just thought that was really such an awesome use of something that, number one, it's unsightly, and number two, it is absolutely necessary to clean that up so that we can clear up the waterways and we can use the trash, which is the sargassum, and turn it into fuel. Isn't that awesome? That is. I found that to be quite interesting. And so we move on to our keynote speaker, who is none other than Dr. the Honorable Nigel Clarke, MP, Minister of Finance and the Public Service. Minister Clarke is a member of Parliament for St. Andrews Northwestern, and he has served as Ambassador for Economic Affairs, where he represented Jamaica's interests with multilateral institutions, and as a senator in the upper house of the Parliament of Jamaica. Minister Clark's public sector career also includes service in over various periods as the chairman of the National Housing Trust, the Port Authority of Jamaica, Heart Trust, and director of the Bank of Jamaica. Minister Clark has also been an active social entrepreneur, where he is the founding chairman of the National Youth Orchestra of Jamaica, an NGO that operates music for social change programs at 8 centers in Kingston and Spanish Town. I wonder if Minister Clark plays an instrument. Well, he's going to let us know when he comes up. Put your hands together and welcome Minister Dr. the Honorable Nigel Clark.
Madam Master of Ceremonies, I don't know how many, you must be tired to read that 4-line bars, and people must be tired of hearing it. I look forward to the day I can just be introduced Minister of Finance, Nigel Clark. I dabble on the piano, if you want to know. But Master of Ceremonies, Ambassador Marian Van Steen, Ambassador of the European Union to Jamaica, other members of the diplomatic corps. I know the ambassadors of France, of Germany, of, I think, Spain and Belgium are here today, and I want to welcome them. Give them a round of applause, please. Ambassador Van Steen doesn't go anywhere without her army. Carmen, country representative of the IDB, who flew in just this morning to be here for the ceremony. Thank you very much. And our fellow Caribbean national, Ambassador Anthony Edmonds, is here also from the IDB. He works out of the office of the president of the IDB, and his presence here today speaks to the importance of this activity this morning to the IDB and to Jamaica. Welcome, Ambassador. And of course, Anthony Shaw, the newly minted managing director of the DBJ, who has taken the relay. This is a 4x1 now then, Anthony. 4x1. Milverton ran a great corner leg, right? Welcome, Milverton, as well. Thank you both, and the members of the IDB team. Now, I'm going to single out the project manager for the BIGEE program. I don't think anybody has acknowledged him yet, but he is a person making it happen on the ground. So, and he's been very excited about this program since we launched it. Welcome. So, Jamaica has invested much in policy reforms over the past several years. And those policy reforms came about as a result of structural problems that we had with our economy. But another way to look at those policy reforms is that they have been geared towards entrenching the private sector as the engine of growth of the economy. For a very long time, the government acted in a way that crowded out the private sector from economic activities by having an insatiable appetite for debt, for having an appetite that resulted in borrowing large amounts on an annual basis. The private sector was squeezed out when, you can't compete with a government that has an insatiable appetite. So our reforms were built on constraining the government's appetite for debt and deepening reforms that translate into greater amounts of transparency and predictability and stability of the Jamaican economy. Now, that macroeconomic stability and transparency and predictability are not ends in themselves, as important as they are. And these reforms, which we engaged in on the fiscal side, and a lot of people are familiar with the fiscal reforms, there were equally important reforms on the monetary side as well, including the independence of the central bank, which we completed just 2 years ago, in addition to reforms as far as in other areas. But those reforms, as I was saying a while ago, were not ends in themselves. We didn't do those reforms for the sake of patting ourselves on the back to say, hey, look at what we have done. We have made these reforms. We have passed these laws. We reformed all of these things. Great. No, they were not ends in themselves. These were investments that we have made. Legislative investments, policy investments, and investments that we expect to deliver a return. At the end of the day, we are about improving the quality of lives of the Jamaican people, not about theoretical reforms. So every reform that we champion and we implement is geared towards a particular kind of outcome. And these reforms have been pursued to deepen the role of the private sector in the economy, because we all believe that the private sector is the engine of growth of an economy. Now, our definition of private sector, however, needs some work. The private sector, as is customarily lampooned as the big fat man in the boardroom. That is generally what the private sector has represented over a long period of time. But when we speak about reforms to entrench the role of the private sector, that is not what we mean by private sector. By private sector, we mean every institution, every person, every sole trader, every business that is not in the public sector. And that definition encompasses over 30,000 enterprises in Jamaica, ranging from sole traders to small businesses to medium-sized businesses. And the Jamaica that we envision is one where this sector is vibrant. Financing is the oxygen of business, and we envision a future where this sector has the oxygen that it needs to survive and to thrive and to flourish. Now, we are here today celebrating the 7 million euros non-reimbursable grant from the European Union to this BIGEE program. Now, that's a big word, non-reimbursable grant. What it means is that we'd have to pay the money back. And that's 7 million euros, 8.1 million US dollars, over 1.2 billion Jamaican dollars. And we're very grateful to the European Union for this support. And I want to share with you that this support comes after another visibility ceremony last week of a 16 million euro grant, twice the amount that we're celebrating here today, in forestry management and sustainable climate policies and activities. I won't overshadow today's proceedings with more on that, but it's important that the media, that Jamaican people know that in the European Union, we have a dependable partner who has been incredibly supportive to Jamaica. That's 25 million euros of grants, funds that we don't have to pay back from the European Union. Again, thanks to you. And it's very important for me. I believe in giving credit where credit is due and acknowledging the support that we receive. Now, the program that we're discussing here today, the BIGEE program, is underpinned by a $25 million loan from the IDB. And that loan is critically important. And again, I want to acknowledge the former country manager of the IDB in the Caribbean, Therese Turner-Jones, with whom I had dinner along with her team in late 2018. And we discussed what was needed for this next phase in Jamaica's reform effort. And this was the conversation that we had, that I'm sharing with you, that the reforms that we're pursuing are reforms that are geared towards an end that is not the end is not the reforms in themselves. The reforms must open up and must stimulate further downstream activities. And what we're doing is entrenching the role of the private sector. We have to broaden the definition of the private sector to include all enterprises and all businesses. But importantly, an important distinction from the past is that what we want to do is to focus on innovation. as important as other forms of businesses are, businesses that are not involved in innovation, let's take one thing and they make it available somewhere else, that's important. But for us to have the kind of economic growth that can support the kind of jobs, we need value-added private sector activity, which is all based on innovation. And hence, the naming of the program, boosting innovation and growth in entrepreneurial ecosystems. And the name itself is an important recognition that making one business flourish, or 10 businesses flourish, or 50 businesses flourish is not sufficient. What we have to do is to reform an entire ecosystem and address an ecosystem in its entirety. And that is what the BIGEE program is geared to doing, to addressing the innovation ecosystem and putting innovation at the center of business. This program underscores the government's commitment to promoting, financing, and investing in innovation. As a result of that, the program has several elements. It has things that we have not done before, such as an innovation grant fund that provides grants to MSMEs, medium-sized and small businesses, that show innovative potential. They are launching a new product. They are coming up with a new way of making something. They're exploring new horizons, new territory. They're pushing the frontiers of business forward. There is a grant fund for businesses such as those. Now, when you put a grant fund like that and you make it available, what does it do? It spurs innovation. It spurs businesses to think in a different way, to move the frontiers forward. And it supports confidence that here in Jamaica, we can innovate too. Innovation is not only a property of North America and Asia and Europe. We can innovate right here in Jamaica and right here in the Caribbean. And I believe there are lots of examples of innovation in the hall outside. Another component consists of the Go Digital Voucher Program, which I have spoken about before. And the Go Digital Voucher Program came in very handy during the COVID period. As Carmen mentioned earlier, we signed the loan agreement with IDB in 2019, and the BIGEE program was launched in March 2020. Little did we know that we'd have had a 2-year COVID period that would follow. But what the Go Digital Voucher Program allowed for is for medium-sized and small and micro enterprises to apply for and to receive a grant of up to 300,000 Jamaican dollars, accompanied by a loan, if they wanted it, of up to $800,000 at 2%, to create, where it did not exist before, a digital front end to their business. We know that if medium-sized and small enterprises are able to engage with their customers through a digital interface, engaging in e-commerce activities, it can make them more productive, more efficient, allow more to drop to the bottom line, and allow them to flourish, to prosper, and to grow. And we're very proud of the fact that this has been a very successful program. I don't have the precise number, but I think somebody mentioned it earlier, where we've had a few hundred businesses that have accessed this Go Digital Voucher from the Development Bank of Jamaica. That would not have been possible without the partners who we celebrate here today. We've also had other elements of the program. And because the BIGEE program is focused on ecosystems, it has been important to go beyond supporting individual businesses, but to support institutions that also support businesses. And to that regard, the program has an incubator feature where it provides supports to the institutions in Jamaica that help to incubate businesses. No matter what you see on the front of Forbes magazine, or on the front of Business Week magazine, or on the front of the Financial Gleaner, no man or woman is an island. Nobody does it by themselves. We like to parade as if that is how entrepreneurial and business success is accomplished. But that's rarely the case. Usually it is that the entrepreneur depends on support from institutionally, maybe even family-wise and otherwise. Without that support, we are not going to have the success that we desire. And so it's important that we have an ecosystem that includes resourced incubators that provide that support to businesses and to early stage companies that have opportunity to grow. And so under the BIGEE program, we are supporting some of the incubators that have been in existence for some time, acknowledging them, providing them with grant resources and technical resources. In addition to supporting the incubator space, we have institutions that are called accelerators. And institutions that are accelerators, what do? They take businesses that have a chance to scale up, and they help them to scale up quickly, right? By providing the kind of support that is transformational in that dimension. And because we're addressing an ecosystem and not simply a company, the BIGEE program is boosting the accelerators that exist in Jamaica. And that is having a good impact and a good effect. And then the fifth component of this BIGEE program consists of providing seed funding to highly scalable MSMEs. Now, what do we mean by scalable? We know what MSME means, right? MSME is a business in Jamaica. There's a formal definition under $450 million of sales and less than a certain number of employees, Jamaican dollars. But you have MSMEs that will stay MSMEs forever. And you have small businesses that will stay small forever. They are important too. But this segment of the program is focused on those small businesses that we expect to become medium in a certain amount of time, and that will become large in another period of time if given the right support. And countries that are based on a market-based system, they have entrepreneurial ecosystems that allow for those businesses to be identified and to receive sometimes grant support, but many times economic support, i.e. support that expects a return. And under this component of the program, therefore, we'll be launching, or the DBJ will be launching, and is in a process far advanced, I believe, a $2 billion fund, a $2 billion Jamaican dollar fund, through which the government of Jamaica will contribute through this program $750 million. And that $2 billion venture capital fund will be focused on early stage, i.e. MSMEs that are at the early stage, not necessarily chronologically, they could be at it for some time, but early stage in terms of their life cycle, and also that have high potential, highly scalable potential, in which an investment can be made with the expectation that that potential will be realized and that the investment can be, the proceeds of the investment can yield a market-based return. So we're putting a lot of resources behind this BIGEE program and behind this effort with the support of the IDB and the support of the European Union, because it is critically important that we use the opportunity provided by the sacrifice that the Jamaican people have made over a decade to transform our economic space to one that is in which medium-sized and small and micro-enterprises play a critical and crucial role in the allocation of resources, and that this sector can grow and flourish on the back of innovation. The final thing I'll mention that this program involves, which I'm very pleased about, is, and which is being partially funded by the European Union, is a technology transfer element. Innovation often is based on new technologies. Not always. You can apply existing technologies in new ways and innovate. You can, innovation has many forms. But sometimes it depends on new technologies, new science, new discoveries. The process of taking science from the laboratory, or scientific developments or discoveries from the laboratory and into the boardroom is not one that we have done well in Jamaica. We do have patents here in Jamaica. In fact, Jamaica leads the Caribbean region in the number of patents that exist. Certainly the patents at UWI, Mona, leads the region. I believe up to a few years ago, this data is a few years old, there were up to 25 patents in a period of time, and 20 of those 25 were from Mona. Now, we have to, and those patents, many of them may have commercial value, but the process of commercializing patents is something that we have to plan for. It's not going to happen automatically. And let me generalize this a little bit. There are countries in our region, like Costa Rica, that specialize not necessarily in commercializing only the patents from Costa Rica. They take a look at patents across the space and say, wait a minute, I wonder which one of those I can put to commercial use. If somebody has found a way to make a new spring, right, that is more robust, lasts longer, and more effective, how can I use that in a product to make it, okay? And you have industries built around scouring the place for patents or new developments in technology and finding a way to commercialize them. Well, that has to be a component of our innovation culture as well. So there is an element of the support that we're celebrating here today that involves the establishment of technology transfer offices in Jamaica, at our universities, for instance, where you'll have persons who are trained in the business of allowing for the commercial exploitation of intellectual property, technology-oriented intellectual property, in a way that is fair to all concerned. Part of the problem we have today is, people who develop some of these technologies don't want to give anything up. The people involved, the lawyers involved, may not have the right training. So there's a lot for us to do, and this part of the program, the technical assistance that is involved in it, will be very useful in transforming our landscape. So I am very pleased for this opportunity, for this ceremony, to recognize the contribution and support from the European Union to this exercise, because for Jamaica to achieve our ambitions and goals, we're going to have to put innovation at the center of our economy. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I think we need a better clap than that. That was... Innovate. To make changes in something established, especially by introducing new methods, ideas, or products. The minister said the word innovate a lot in his presentation today, and I think we should take that to heart, because Jamaicans have been innovators long time. We have a saying, a very popular adage in Jamaica, I wonder who knows it, that speaks about innovation. Turn your hand, make fashion. Who said it? Somebody over there said it. Turn your hand, make fashion. So we are no strangers to innovation, and it is so, so amazing to see that the government and the EU are investing in Jamaican innovators. I think we need to give that a round of applause. And so now, the moment we are all here for, the symbolic signing. So we're going to have you don't have to move, the folders are already there. So members of the media, you can, you know, find your spots. I know this needs to be captured. This is the shot that's going to make it in all the newscasts. So you can come a little closer if you need to. Just make sure you capture it. Go right ahead. Open your folder, right? So we're just capturing the symbolic signing of the non-reimbursable financing agreement between the minister and Miss Madriz. Beautiful. Wonderful. Now we have done the business. I think we want to stand up for that handshake, please, so they can get a better look at it. Yes, man. Everybody on the head table can join in the photo op. Beautiful. Everybody got their shot? All right. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And while we get back situated, I'm going to invite Mr. Milverton Reynolds. Oh, so he's going to be the one. Okay. Apologies. Mr. Christopher Brown, project manager. Okay. So now that we are all back in our seats, I'm going to invite Mr. Christopher Brown, project manager, BIGEE, to move the vote of thanks. Make him welcome, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. All right, so the Honorable Nigel Clark, Minister of Finance, Her Excellency, Ambassador, and the delegation, the IDB colleagues, Managing Director Anthony Shaw from the Development Bank, ladies and gentlemen, media, good morning. All right, so firstly, I would like to thank you all for coming here today. I, for one, am very happy to be outside again. And, you know, the type of interaction that we get in this space is unparalleled. Also want to welcome all those who are zoomed in online. So, I know Madam Chair hasn't mentioned it, but there is a company outside called One-on-One Educational. And One-on-One is offering a product which is basically a classroom in a box. The innovation that they're using to create a classroom in a box is internet in a box. So they are capturing the internet in a snapshot. It is on a device, and that device can be used anywhere in the island. So consider remote areas. You know, COVID showed us a lot of deficiencies in access to schooling, or let's say the internet to be able to do school. Consider those boxes in places for students, schools, to be able to have live access to the internet. Very innovative activity, and this is done by a Jamaican with a Jamaican company. So as the minister mentioned, there's a lot of innovation that takes place, and the BIGEE program is really here to try and drive that adoption. So I would say Jamaica's ecosystem at the moment is very ripe for evolution. And the BIGEE program, as the minister explained, which I hope I can do it as well as he did in the future, not today. Our focus is really to support businesses and entrepreneurs along all stages. So consider those who have an idea. We want to get them to the point of being a large corporation. Consider those who are, have been in business for some time and they haven't been able to move. We want to also drive those. So it's about evolving the businesses that are there, and that's what the BIGEE program is about. We're going to help drive innovation, productivity amongst these businesses by providing grants, technical assistance, access to equity financing, the institutional strengthening, which is the ensuring that the institutions who serve businesses, your incubators, accelerators, that they are operating at a standard that can create game-changing MSMEs out of it. It's a very big component of the program, and as the minister mentioned, it's a primary focus. So achieving those goals in a material way really would not be possible without our partners, the European Union, as well as the IDB. Many may not know, but the IDB spearheaded the grant that we're getting here today. There are many nights of design and submission to the EU, ensuring that all of those are met. On behalf of the DBJ and the government, I really want to thank them for that effort that has gone into where we are today. So we started working on the design of the broader BIGEE program from 2018, and many people would say we predicted COVID was going to come. We didn't. But the fact that the BIGEE program came on at that time was a tremendous help to many businesses. I think we really wanted it to take them to another level prior to knowing about COVID, but I think it definitely helped to help support or maintain those who are going through a very difficult time. And so therefore, the BIGEE program really has contributed to our business development thus far. So to our Ministry of Finance and Planning Institute colleagues, they have put in a lot of work in getting us to where we are today. Many days of negotiation with the IDB, with the EU, to try and just ensure we get the program right. It's not about getting money which may not have good use or applicability. We have to focus on the design. And I think, as has been explained by the minister, I think we really got it right. So it's really now about execution. This EU grant of 7 million euros is more money, and more money means more work. So I think I'm supposed to say thank you for the more work that my team has to do as we try and drive the program. Lastly, I'd really like to thank, on behalf of the DBJ, the BIGEE project team themselves. All of the results that you've heard thus far, we are a year and a half in implementation. We have another 3 years to go. And the results that you're hearing about now are a result of the work that they have been putting in day and night for that period. So I really want to thank them. See someone in here. And I would like to encourage you all to visit the displays outside. There are micro businesses, small businesses, startups. There's a couple of medium-sized businesses. Just get an understanding of what Jamaica has to offer. Thank you very much.
He said more money, more work. Mr. Christopher, the work more anyway. I want to say a big thank you to everybody who joined us here today, and I am happy to be here. How did you feel? Do you think that this was a good way to spend your Wednesday morning? I think so, yes. I just want to invite you to partake of some refreshments outside and, of course, follow what the gentleman says. Visit the booths and get home safely. Please stop and, just say hi to somebody, meet somebody new. It's a new world. We're outside. Thank you very much for being here today. I am your moderator, Shelley Beeks. Have yourself a lovely day.